Well, as is tradition here on Osoroshii Saturday, we try to reinvent ourselves with each intro. So instead of blabbing through this one, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a sing. Let's go!
Yeah.
tonight a host of creepy nightmares, Toshiden Setsu, and Bukimi no Tani Gensho stories, that's the uncanny valley for those of you who don't speak Japanese, are about to flood your way. We're gonna start tonight with one of my own tales, and then reach into the dark, deep pits of YouTube, as we have contributions from Getting Spooky, a creepypasta reader who has her own great site you need to check out after you watch this. After that, we have Unimportant Hero, who donates an awesome Toshiden Setsu, that's urban legend, about Last Train After the Last Train. If you're into urban noir RPGs, check out her channel too after this. Last but not least, A Hero Will Stand from Belarus donated this great song that you just heard. If you want to get some creepy going, and you're here for the fear, let's begin Osoroshii Saturday. Our next little story is called The Black Phone Ritual, similar to the elevator game. If you don't know about that, it's a little ritual that lets you travel to a different dimension via pressing buttons on an elevator. You might end up somewhere you don't want to be. Same thing goes for this Black Phone Ritual. This time you're using a black rotary phone. But like last time, I don't know where you're gonna end up. Our next story is a deeply dark, disturbing part of Japanese history, known as the Ubasute. Ubasute. That is a cave for the dying, a place in which the elderly would go and be allowed to rot away deeply within the elements. Taken by nature so that they could better the life of their village. Of course, an ancient practice that no longer happens at all, but a well-kept secret which the Japanese wish would probably disappear into nothingness. Another fact to be swept under the rug. There's many a tale of these horrible caves and the darkness that they would bring. One of the most favorite is the Ballad of Narayama no Ubasute. In this story, an elderly lady who knows that she is burdening her son begins to act crazy, although she is perfectly sane. She knocks out her own teeth and runs through the village with blood spilling from her mouth, screaming at the children within the village and scaring families. Sadly, it is the son's job to bring her out to the Ubasute, a tale in which he explains himself how he carried his poor mother on his back. She screamed and wept and knew that although she did not want to go, she had to. She sacrificed herself so that her son's life could become better, and so that she could quietly, away from the village, succumb to the elements. For this next little episode, we've got ourselves a guest speaker. That's right, Getting Spooky did a little bit of a recording for us. Creepy but great tale. Give hers a listen, and then visit her site, or else.
A coworker of mine is dead. His name was Ken, and he was really into free climbing. We were really close friends, and because I was single, he would often invite me to go on outings with his family. That said, he really loved climbing. Whenever he found out he had a day off, the first thing out of his mouth would inevitably be something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm gonna climb that mountain," or "I think I'll try that cliff today." About 6 months before he passed away, he came to me with a request. "Hey, in case I die, would you make a video for me?" he said. Ken was very aware of the dangers that came with his hobby and knew that at any time he might be seriously injured or worse. He wanted me to record a video message for his family, and if the day came that he did have an accident, I was to show them the video. I told him that if it was really that dangerous, he should just think of his family and stop climbing. But no matter how much I insisted he think of them, he said that climbing was one of the things that he just couldn't give up on. I knew that would be his reply, regardless of how much I tried to convince him otherwise, and I agreed to film him when he was ready. We both agreed that filming at his house would be too risky, as there was a great chance of being caught, so he came over to my apartment instead. With nothing in the frame besides Ken sitting on my couch with a white wall behind him, he began speaking. This is Ken. If you're watching this video, it probably means that I'm dead. Mariko, which was his wife. Aya, which was his daughter. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. I'm sorry that my own selfishness regarding my hobby has caused you such grief. Mom, Dad, thank you for bringing me up. You and my friends might be sad about what happened, but please don't be. Know that I'm in heaven and it's great here. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to see all of you before I died, but I just know that I'm watching you from heaven. And Aya, especially you, honey, I will always be watching you from above, so please don't cry. I want to see you smile as we say goodbye to each other. Goodbye, everyone. Of course, when I filmed this, Ken was alive. He died 6 months later in a climbing accident. According to his teammates, it was common for them to lay down a mat below the climbing area just in case somebody did fall. However, when Ken slipped and fell, he landed quite far away from where the mat was set out. There was no way to help him once he fell. The vigil and the funeral were both quite grim. His wife and daughter couldn't stop crying. Even I couldn't believe that it happened. I mean, this was Ken we were talking about. A week later, I brought the video of Ken to his house. Some sense of calm had returned to the family, and they wanted to see what Ken had to say before he died. Yes, it was a 7-day memorial of his death. Most of his relatives were there to watch too. I hope that this is an appropriate addition to Ken's memorial, I said, as I took the DVD out of its case and put it in the player. Please watch it. His family began to cry. A buzzing sound came from the speakers, followed by about 10 seconds of darkness on the screen. Huh? Did the video not actually record? I began to wonder. Luckily, the screen flashed and showed Ken's face only a moment later. This is Ken. If you're watching this video, it probably means that I'm dead. As Ken spoke, the buzzing sound grew so loud that we had trouble making out what he was saying.
Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. I'm sorry that my own self...
The sound grew louder and louder, but it still seemed to break up intermittently. The buzzing sound took over again for a moment. Finally, the DVD stopped. I felt a chill run down my spine. The second half of the DVD was hard to understand because of the buzzing, but Ken's words in the video were clearly different than what I'd heard during the filming. Somehow his message had turned into the agonizing screams of someone dying a painful death. At the very end, it looked as if something dark had come into the edge of the screen and began pulling Ken away by his arm. His family broke out into sobs. After seeing the tape, his wife grabbed a hold of me and cried out, begging me to tell her why I would show them such a thing. His sister punched me. Mariko's brother managed to calm the situation down by insisting that Ken wasn't the type of person to play a prank like this. Still, I knelt down on the floor and begged them for forgiveness while swearing to dispose of the video. The next day, I went to a nearby temple to see if someone there could dispose of the DVD. As soon as the priest saw the bag I was carrying, he spoke. I'm sorry, but we can't handle that sort of thing here. He directed me to a place where I could have the tape cleansed, and I immediately went there. You really got yourself into trouble with that, didn't you? The man at the temple told me despite his reaction, I was directed to a priest, or maybe he was a spiritual medium, who told me the following. When I filmed Ken, he was already being pulled into hell. The priest didn't know how Ken managed to hold on for half a year after the video was taken. He should have died right after the filming.
Next up, we have someone brand new on the Osoroshii lineup. Unimportant Hero brings us a creepy tale of trains in Japan. Listen close, and maybe you'll avoid the last train after the last train.
They say that once, a few years ago, there was a train on the Chiyoda line. A very special train. A cursed train. Why was it cursed? No one really knows. And to this day, the officials at JR and the other train companies in Tokyo refuse to discuss it. Any information related to it. They don't want people to worry. But you should worry. You see, this cursed train, was well known for collecting suicides. Oh yes. It's well known that in Tokyo people on a regular basis throw themselves in front of a train to end it all, but this train caught more than any other train. So many, they say, that it became hungry. Human life. Those body count rose, and the rumors of curse began to spread. The officials at the train station decided it would be best to retire the train. So, that's what they did. They retired the engine and took it off the tracks, hoping that maybe, just maybe, some good might be done. But that is not the case. See, that train still haunts the tracks of Tokyo. Free at last. It's called the Shuden Atodensha, or the train after this train. You might be thinking the train after ought to be train, that's the first train, but it's not. Oh no. If you happen to be out late one night, maybe you're out drinking with your friends, I'm having a great time, not really aware of your surroundings, and then all of a sudden, well, it's time to go home. So, you walk to the station, you're the only one at that station, and say goodbye to your friends, and they move on, and you take a seat at the tracks. And you wait, and you wait, and you wait for a train because it's coming. The last train of the night is already coming down. But then, it's when you think you missed it, you see a light in the distance on the track, somewhere down the tracks. You hear the whine of wheels against steel track, coming closer and closer and closer. You didn't miss the last train after all, but as the train dropped closer, your thoughts become darker, darker, and darker. Suddenly you're remembering every shame-free secret, every horrible thing you've done, or every embarrassing moment that you've been unable to live down. It's all piled on top of you, like dead weight that you never release. And finally, just before the train pulls into the tracks, you're so overcome with embarrassment, shame, grief. You have no choice but to jump. As if there are strings attached to your body, pulled by an invisible puppeteer, you leap into the path of an oncoming train that is not even there. And you're never seen again. Unless, by some chance, someone somehow manages to survive. And I wonder, what would such a person see? Perhaps they would see you, your soul, trapped inside one of the many cars, all numbered 4, packed in as tight as possible, with all the other souls the Shuden no Atodensha, the train after last, has claimed. And I heard this story from a person who heard it from a person, like most urban legends, but has to wonder. But so many of these stories, how do they even start? If being alone and dying is a prerequisite for having the experience, right? I wonder, how does someone escape a situation like that?
Well, that brings us to the end of another beautiful Osoroshii Saturday. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did making it. I would like to thank these wonderful people. Please visit their site and give them your respect. Until next time, I am Unrested, and this is Osoroshii Saturday.
We created the perfect soldier. We called him the Death Corps.
What's the matter?
I don't know. Did you hear anything?
I don't think so. Now I do.